time to bring the excitement to the new and highest level. Oh my God, it almost worked. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoopjunkies Pauly and Rowley. And you're looking at us right now. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Normally, for those that have been watching the first 7 episodes, it used to do this. And actually, I didn't mind initially because, do you really need to see half of that huge, massive noggin? Yes, you do, because it is the Barry White of St. Paul's, Alberta. Population, 5,600 and change.
Yeah, exactly.
The world renowned for the only UFO landing pad, only 5 minutes from where Trent lives on the 16th hole of St. Paul's golf course. Lucky bastard.
They're among us.
And let me just pick. They certainly are, and I absolutely agree with you. Everybody, welcome. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show. This is our second iteration of 3. The first one is the Canadian Bro Show, all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny. Just a fun romp through Canadianism, pop culture. We're filming this weekend our 22nd episode. If you've got time to check it out on YouTube at the Canadian Bro Show, at the Canadian Bro Show, check it out. It's fun. It's free, and we're enjoying it. But here, more importantly, we are back for the second iteration, and I'm always excited and happy to be with my good friend, the co-host with the most, Mr. Trent Rowley. Trent,
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. It's a Friday.
As per usual.
On a Friday.
Yeah.
And, done work. I'm ready to do this.
Cool.
This is always something to look forward to for the week.
So, hey, just for people that don't know, what is the first thing that you would tell people about St. Paul, Alberta, that they need to know? Where it's located?
Probably
why did you end up there?
Just work.
Oh, you were handed the most money and you went there.
There's other places to live. Obviously, turn your phone off. It's rude. There's other places to live, obviously, in the area, but rent at the time I was buying a house. And
in Italy, they say the bastardo.
Whatever you want to call yourself.
Whatever. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's a community that's based on farming, not oil field. There's a bit of oil field, but when that oil and gas business struggles a bit, our community still does fairly well because we're servicing like 25 to 30,000 people within 7 or 8 other communities that are like 30 minutes away. So it's just a nice little farming community. People are nice. I mean, I found a house on the golf course. I mean, it's pretty tough. It was tough to say no compared to a lot of other places that I'd looked at. So,
well, I mean, good answer. And I've been there many times. I love it. The epitome of small town mentality. But when you go to Trent's exclusive neighborhood, which is probably the nicest neighborhood in that immediate area of St. Paul's, and I thought there were about 6,500, but I guess people have passed and everybody's moving. I have no idea what's going on, but they do have a UFO landing pad there. It's quite remarkable. I'm not sure if any UFOs have actually landed there, but his house on the 16th hole of St. Paul's is absolutely ideal in its location for sunshine, just
shade,
because it.
everything.
What's that?
Sunshine, shade, hot tub, fire pit.
Everything.
Got it all.
And Trent takes his dog out in the winter on snowshoes, and they walk the 18-hole golf course in snow. What a great way to work out. It's flat too. It's really beautiful. There's lots of birds. Great sun exposure all day, from morning to night.
Yeah, man.
And anyways, let's get back to the show.
Now that people watch this, they can understand why my demeanor is so happy and
yeah, and in the bottom of his house on the 16th hole of St. Paul's is an entire sports bar, man cave. It is spectacular. He's just got a oh yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. That's just a section of it. He's in the back end of it. You can see where all the pot lights are. Yeah. That goes up. There's a bar. There's a lounge area. Look at that. That place is, we've had some good times in that bar.
There's been some tequila drank at that bar. A lot of it.
It's one of the reasons why I haven't had a tequila in quite some time, actually.
There's a little out of for sure.
Anyways, I apologize for all the hoop junkies out there, basketball enthusiasts. It's
Right.
just nice
It's
catching up
about
with my friend. Trent and I have been friends for, God, 38, 37 years, whatever.
lots going on.
Canadian
Let's
Bro
get the hoops.
Show. What's that?
I said lots going on. Let's get the hoops.
Yeah, definitely. We got tons of good stuff. Episode number 8. 8 represents good fortune, all basketball from Hoop Junkies Pauly and Rowley. You, of course, met Trent Rowley, as you can see, self proclaimed co host with the most. I won't argue that because I'm really glad to have him as a friend and a co host on this show. And we'd like to start off by just giving a brief intro on what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about and we're always going to talk about the WNBA.
Yeah, man.
Female basketball is, well, we're just going to get into it. We're going to talk about the Emirates NBA Cup semifinals in Vegas. It's Vegas time, baby. Everybody is in. What was that?
That's what I think of the Emirates.
Oh, I thought you actually passed wind on our live show.
No.
Okay, and then Yahoo NBA fantasy basketball. We have a couple of teams in the same league together, and we're battling each other this week, and it's quite fun. The FIBA World Basketball Rankings. I want to talk about the top 20 countries. Trent's got his weekly breakdown of the East and West conference breakdowns. And initially, I just want to say this channel is about hoops for the soul and players for life. And the next segment, we're going to get into WNBA, a campaign for the ages. Caitlin Clark grabbed storylines and attention during her first season in the WNBA as she just completely dominated. And not many people actually knew who she was, except hardcore hoop junkies like Trent and I. Trent turned me on to her, heard about her, and have been watching her. And just an incredible honor to watch this young lady who got drafted by the Indiana Fever, was named Athlete of the Year by Time Magazine, which is really, really extraordinary. And I just want to give you a quick blurb, and I'll go through it. And I really want to allow Trent and his poetry and his synergy of love for Caitlin and what she has done for female basketball in this world. It's really quite remarkable. I'll go through this quick. This is for people that like stats and little blurbs. Um, with the expectations already so high after her first season, it's hard to envision what Clark can do for an encore in her second season. The Fever Star is strategically preparing for it as she took time off. She said, no thanks. Caitlin said, look, I'm cleaning my calendar off. I am going to decline an invitation to an unrivaled female version of what Cube is doing with the
3-on-3. Yep.
3-on-3 basketball league, founded by WNBA stars Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier. But she just said, look, it's me time. I'm sorry if I'm disappointing anybody. I need to adjust my body and get my skills and my mind ready for the second season. I had a great season, but that season's finished. And she says all the right things. She does
Every time.
every single, she's remarkable.
Yeah.
As sold out arenas. Well, this is what's happening with this young lady is taking over the game. For the first time in the history of basketball, female basketball, certainly in the Western Hemisphere, not necessarily FIBA and global, because female basketball is immensely popular in many countries, but certain countries even more so. And so as soon as television ratings went through the roof, fan bases went nuts. Young ladies and women and housewives and people that used to play ball, grandmothers, they're buying her jersey. I mean, everything skyrocketed. According to ESPN, Clark was has the rookie records for scoring at 761 points, 3-pointers at 120, which is remarkable because everybody's just all over, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to see her succeed. All-star game with 10 assists. By the way, she drops dimes like a millionaire, and she is a multimillionaire now just after 1 year, and that will change immensely as well. She broke the league's single record for most assists in a game with 19, which is just like, come on, man. both Trent and I, we like to drop dimes, and it's a very valuable, important part of the game. But to do that is exceptional, extraordinary, and in total had 329 and has the record for the most assists in one season, becoming the first
Yeah.
rookie to post a triple double. Which, for those that don't know what a triple double is,
And
we
did it
can
twice.
talk about it. Clark was also integral in helping the Indiana Fever to the second longest playoff drought in league history, obviously, with her dynamic synergy that she brings, which lasted 7 years. They finished with a 20-win, 20-loss record. Fantastic. And to finish it up with, really important to finish it up with something solid, and that is Aja Wilson, who is a superstar in the WNBA, was the first player to break 1,000 points, which is just really remarkable. And kudos to her in a single season. And Clark scoring 761. Aja's looking over her shoulder and she's like, maybe not in the beginning of the season, but now she's looking over her shoulder. She's like, this gal can play. She's the real deal.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, Clark established an unlimited shooting range, which is why she beat Pistol Pete Maravich, is leading scoring record of NCAA Division I, both men and women. Pistol Pete, my favorite player in the history of the game. She beat him.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. And when Trent told me a couple years ago that she was approaching, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Not going to happen. Well, here we are. Clark's passing ability and basketball IQ separates her from 95% of the rest of the league.
And men.
And
Men
men.
also. Those
I
those
would,
those
it's
forward
so funny
passes
you said that.
from the
It's so
foul
funny
line
you
to the
said
other
that.
foul line, she's making types of passes that there's guys in the NBA that can't make that pass.
If Trent didn't interject, then I would have said the same thing because I was going to, and that's how we're so connected, because it's so true, and
Yeah.
it separates her from both men and women, basketball players, ballers, hoop junkies, hoopsters, you know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you and she's the reason she has a single season assists record, and she's approaching the historical leader of the WNBA, Sue Bird, who's another incredible basketball player,
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
um, who had 3,234 assists. If Clark continues at the same rate, she will
No, she'll beat it.
probably beat her within 10 seasons.
Yeah, as long as she stays healthy, she's breaking that record. It's not.
And with that said, I want to pass this over to my partner in crime, my good friend, the co-host at the most, Trent Rowley, and he will tell you about female basketball and Caitlin
All about
Collins.
Caitlin Clark. We could just have a Caitlin Clark episode, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Well, I mean, we're
I,
going to have to do that because
so I would, so to build on what you said before we get, first of all, most people know that they're sports fans, will know that she won the Time Athlete of the Year, women or men's, just Athlete of the Year,
as we
and,
mentioned in the beginning.
and should be.
Yeah.
But NBA wise, the league itself, so triple double, she had two. She was three other games where she was one assist or rebound away from like more. She had 19 assists in a game. She was one assist away from breaking that record. Only one other person has done that in a game. She broke the season record for assists, rookie or player, right? And I know they have like 8 more games, but the records are records. And then the big thing that they did to start the season last year is they put Indiana had 11 games in 22 days, and their record was like 1-8, kind of thing. Like they were, it was a struggle because they were just pushed. They wanted her on TV so bad that they really,
Sold out arenas.
yeah, I mean, they wanted her on TV so bad. Well, you think about it. There's 42 games, I believe, in a WNBA season, and
Yeah.
35 of the Indiana Fever games were broadcasted. And that pissed some people off because they're like, well, what about
Yeah,
us?
because it's never happened before.
You were more interesting, you would have had your games televised. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. It doesn't matter white, black, doesn't matter anything. It's this girl is a generational
Well,
talent.
it all matters. It
No, it
shouldn't.
doesn't matter to me. So,
No, me neither.
yeah. And the other thing with the Unrivaled League, I'm glad she took that time off. I'm actually glad she didn't. If people that, I mean, I watch it enough that the way she played after the Olympics, the break, compared to how she was playing before, people forget she had 2 straight seasons of taking an Iowa team to the national championship.
Yeah.
With no other top 50 recruits, right? So when
Mhm.
people say, well, she didn't win, and when she played against teams like LSU and South Carolina that have
Mm.
all the best recruits. because of the NIL and transfer portals, all that stuff now. Iowa didn't even have a top 51 outside of her.
Mhm.
So for her to carry, and she did, she carried them to those. I mean, she's getting 40-point triple doubles in NCAA tournament games. But the unrivaled thing, as much as I think that it's a cool idea that they're making some extra money for themselves, not having to go overseas,
Yeah.
at the same time, I would say I'm glad she didn't do that because there was, what was it? Out of all the flagrant fouls in the WNBA last year, almost 20% of them were committed on Caitlin Clark. These women, I don't care what anybody says, they hated her.
It
They
was a
hated
hack show. It was an absolute malicious hack show.
They hated the fact that this little white girl from Iowa was all of a sudden the face of the league, and she'd never won anything. She'd never won a
Quick
championship in college.
interjection. If she wasn't a little white girl from a cornbread small county and she was a different persuasion, a different color, would that be any different?
No, I hope not, but it probably would be portrayed different. And we're going to get to that as we get to what went on with this Time Magazine thing now. Like the people are going crazy. People on the
Oh
right are
yeah.
going crazy, and people on the left want
Unleashing
to embrace her.
Trent Rowley.
So, and the last thing is, a lot of the people, when you go on Facebook or online social media, the people that are the haters who love Angel Reese or other players that are black, not white players, but they can't stand this. The first thing they bring up when people say how great she is, oh, well, she leads the league in turnovers. You're right, she did, because she was making passes that the girls she's played with had never seen before and weren't catching. And there's some passes she makes that are just so ridiculous that she shouldn't try them. It's going to be a turnover. But if you go to the history of basketball and go look at the top 10 lists of who has the most turnovers, it's a list of Hall of Famers from both leagues,
Mhm.
right? It's so this idea that, oh, she's going to probably be, she probably will, you know what? At the end of the day, she's going to be like Steph Curry. She's going to have a 3-point record that's untouchable. She's going to have so many threes. She's going to have an assist record that's going to be the most assists in the history of the game when she's done. And she probably will have the turnover record in the history of the league when she's done.
Yeah, but her assist to turnover ratio is going to be
Exactly.
7-2 or 3
Exactly.
or whatever.
Right? That's not what they look at. People just need to hate something, right?
But also usage
Yeah,
is
of course.
her usage is
Ball's in her hand.
extraordinary.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. Plus, with the new coach, I'm so excited for the WNBA season. They're getting a new coach, a girl
Yeah.
from that area, won at Purdue, all
Yeah.
that stuff. I'm excited about next year. Can't wait.
I wonder if Caitlin had any suggestions for
And
who
then
the new coach might be.
before I get to the Time Magazine stuff, the last thing too about her is this is where the WNBA really messed this up, was the marketing part, right?
Hmm.
And you, like you said, you want to talk about later about some of what NBA players have said about her, good and bad. Well, when she said, okay, I'm not going to play in this unrivaled, I'm going to take some time off. Well, she went and played at a pro-am, an LPGA pro-am. Well, what did the LPGA do, right? All of a sudden, they televised it. They put Caitlin Clark with the number one golfer in the world, a Nike representative, Nelly Korda,
Hmm.
and they had record crowds for the weekend. Wow, that's amazing. What a genius of marketing.
Isn't that what
I
the
mean,
NCAA Division One athletic school
yeah,
has been doing for how many decades
I
in
know.
America?
It was they muffed this. Excuse the word muff. They muffed this so bad, the WNBA,
Well,
on how
it's an old school word.
yeah, but
Word. I mean,
they muffed it up so bad,
m-
of how they marketed
muff,
her.
by the way, is the same as duff in golf.
Sure. They screwed this up so bad of how they marketed her, how they I mean, it's just brutal. They dropped the ball big time with her, when it
Yeah,
comes to
not
what she
anymore.
brought to the table. Well,
They
no,
they've already made their mistakes.
they've seen it now, yeah. And
Hmm.
then then now we have this Time Magazine story. So she's the athlete of the year, women or men, rightfully deserved for what she did for the WNBA.
Absolutely.
Well, when she started out, we had when she was really doing well, and it just shows you our society. And I hate that we have to talk about it like this, but it is reality. You had the far right, all the white people that were, oh, our great white hope, and she's the greatest, and all this kind of stuff. And that stuff's out there. You can go and find it. It was out there by the media, by Clay Travis type guys, and guys like that. It was out there. They were in love with her because, again, white girl. But then you had the other side of the Jamel Hills and the Monica McNutts and some of these other women that just hated on her because, hey, there's all these other women who have built the league, and you're disrespecting them. Well, guess what, guys? If people wanted to watch those women play, they would have watched those women play. We're not, nobody's saying that those women who came before her aren't great players. It's just that interest wasn't there, and you weren't a good enough player
Well,
to.
it
You weren't
was, but
shooting
just
logo
not.
threes,
It,
kind of
it
thing,
was
right?
there. It's just not at the level it is now.
It,
It's
it
not
was
even
there for
close.
it was there for someone like me that just wants to watch some ball, but it wasn't there for the average basketball fan. And
Yeah,
now that's what they've tapped into. But
yeah.
a lot of people were complaining about how racist Caitlin Clark's fans are because it was the whole MAGA base was big Caitlin Clark fans, and then you had the other side that were just hating on her because she was white and that she was the face of the league and had never won anything. And it's like, well, Asia Wilson is a two-time MVP and a two-time. Nobody's
Denying that.
what you're bringing up with Caitlin Clark has nothing to do with Asia Wilson and
No,
how great she is. And if you're a
no,
basketball fan, you know how great she is.
no.
But no, that's not what we can do in our society now. So now she
Yeah.
gets this award. And what does she say in the interview? She goes, I've worked hard for everything I have, but I do understand that there is white privilege in our league and in our society. This league was built on the back of black women, and we should be celebrating them. Basically paraphrasing what she had said. Well, guess what? The far right, those Charlie Kirks and Clay Travis assholes, they're like, she's bent the knee to woke, and she's not. Guys, what she said is truth, right? It is true. That's how. And the thing is, people that don't know Caitlin Clark's favorite player, who's one of the greatest women basketball players of all time, is Maya Moore,
Yeah.
and she is like, and she's black. Right, that has nothing to do with color. Like these comments and stuff, they just roll off of Caitlin Clark. That's what makes it so great, right? That's like you
Dude,
said, she
we're
just
we're talking
handles.
about human beings here.
I know, and now,
Human beings.
so now the right is acting that way. They're all upset, saying, "Oh, she's bent the knee to
It's
wokeism
insane.
and all this."
It's
And now you have
insane.
the left, the Jamel Hills of the world. Well, Jamel Hill, she can just shut her mouth because she shit on Caitlin Clark for a year, saying it was white privilege and all this stuff about her being
What
all the
what are
marketing.
you saying, Trent? They weren't besties? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. Well, no, but she's a race baiter anyways, and she's actually a
Yeah,
pretty good journalist. But she's a race baiter. She always has been.
yeah.
But
Well,
she shit on her for over a year. Well, now that Caitlin Clark came out and said this, well, guess who's like, wasn't it? It's so great for her to realize that and blah blah blah. Guess what? You don't get to embrace her now after you did that for a year. Because if you would have actually looked it up, you would have known that this is how she felt anyways. And like you said earlier, you cannot go to one interview of Caitlin Clark where she doesn't say the right thing. As I said to you before, she is the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. That is what she's bringing in. She's bringing in way more advertisements. She's bringing in way more fans. And the other thing that people don't know about that the now she's the former president of Indiana Pacers. She went out public because Caitlin again super humble. Again, she probably has a huge ego when she's on the basketball floor and with her teammates, as she should. She's a great player, and all great players have massive egos and talk trash. That's the way it is. It's sports. But she's humble enough that she doesn't need her picture taken or someone or her to say, "Hey, this is what I've done for people." The president of the Indiana Fever came out in an interview and said they played in Atlanta. Atlanta moved their game to where the Hawks play. I remember it used to be the Omni back in the day with Dominique Wilkins.
oh
It's not
yeah.
anymore, but they
And
went to.
Mike the Czar Fratello.
Okay. So where they play now, the Hawks, they moved the game there because they get an average attendance around 3,500. Well, they had 20,000 tickets that they could sell to fill their arena. What did Caitlin Clark do behind the scenes? You would have never known about this except for this president saying it afterwards. She went to the league and she goes, I think that the players on the road, like when we go on the road, I think players should get extra money for generating the even though she's the one generating the sales. She went to them and said, I think we should be giving other bonuses to the other team's players because of the attendance up. And the league, of
Really?
course, said no because they have a CBA and all that. But she went behind the scenes saying women should be getting more. They're flying on private jets. They never did that before. Just,
No, I
you know
mean
what?
that's been going on for a
It's,
decade.
it's what I've said. It's like anything in this world, sports or whatever. Everybody hates change. But a lot of people, you know what? I'm not a big guy that likes change, but lots of times change leads to something positive. They need to embrace this. And as I told you, there are so many girls coming from college right now. This is about to be the golden age for women's basketball. Embrace it. Why do we have to compare somebody to say, well, she's going to be just as good as Caitlin Clark, or she's going to be just. Let them be themselves. Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark. She's one of one, just like Juju Watkins, just like Hannah Hidalgo, this young girl from Notre Dame. I
Yeah.
love it. She is such a good player.
Yeah, she's
They have a
talented.
great backcourt, the two at Notre Dame, actually. Paige
Yeah.
Beckers. Let these people be themselves and embrace this moment, because you're gonna, again, as in Charles Barkley's words said about the marketing part. You guys have fucked this up royally already. He said about the Caitlin Clark stuff. He goes, I cannot believe how
Did
much
he
they
actually
fucked this up.
swear on
He
TNT?
said, not on that, on a podcast. He said
Oh,
that.
I see.
He goes,
Okay.
I can't believe. He goes, I cannot believe how much they fucked this up. Like, he said it blatantly. Said that. LeBron said that. He goes, you guys have messed this
This
up.
is a family show, but we're just
Sorry,
quoting
I apologize.
a
Yes, I'm
a,
quoting
a,
something.
a multimillionaire successful athlete that will
Hall of
speak his
Fame,
mind.
top 50 player of all time. Frick.
Yeah,
I
and the
won't-
round mound to rebound, he'll speak his mind whether he's got 20 high
so,
balls in him or he just finished a coffee. He's
and I
just
so I could
we love
I
him.
could, like I said, we could do a whole show on Caitlin Clark and
We
how I
might
think
have to some
stuff,
point very
because
near future.
I think people, they've taken. I will look at it this way. I'll finish it with this. Sports for me has always been, it's always been the last place that's merit based. There's no nepotism. There's nothing like that. You have to earn your way to be where you've gotten. You had to work for it.
Hmm.
I don't want, what's happening now is that we've let people, commentators, people who are just grifters on either side, bring politics into our sports. I don't want that. I don't watch sports for that, right? But you're using these people as tools for your agenda to grift money off of dummies, basically. And it's tiring. It's tiring. It's old. And just let these kids play, man. I mean, I've never seen a 22-year-old handle this type of fame and spotlight. She has the world. She has that league on her shoulders. I've never seen anybody handle it like this, except for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the same way. He just said what needed to be
She has
said.
not only the league, she has the world on her
Oh, she's
shoulders.
awesome, man. It's just phenomenal talent. Super fun to watch. Hey, they got a good team. Kelsey Mitchell, the other guard, was really good. Leah Boston's a good player. Lexi Hall's a
Yeah.
good. They have a really good. They have a good
And
team. I'm hoping they add a
listen,
couple players.
every single veteran or a female player in WNBA is going to be looking at the Fever and
Yeah.
joining them.
Then I got somebody.
It just watch what happens.
Then I
It
got
just
somebody like Cheryl Swoops telling people that people
oh
are.
my God, let's not go there. That was such a beautifully eloquent, powerful statement. Thank you very much for that, Trent. That was incredible. That's exactly what I was hoping for,
There you
and
go.
setting it up because you have to unleash the beast.
Yeah, sometimes.
And when he, I mean, look at the color in his face right now. Even though he has better lighting,
I'm
he
excited.
is happy.
Yeah, man.
He's one
Of course.
happy chap right now, and I'm happy because we're talking about the best female basketball player in the history of the game,
Yep.
and she's going to change the dynamics of female basketball in general, not
Yep.
just female. It doesn't matter what color skin you are. It doesn't matter if you're male or female.
Dude, there's little boys wearing her jersey,
I'm
right?
telling you,
On
it's
TikTok.
incredible,
She's a-
and that's why we're doing the show. But we're gonna continue on with the show, and we're gonna go on to the next segment. Trent,
Yep.
Trent and I, we do a segment on fantasy basketball. It's just a little segment. It's nothing fancy. We're gonna expand it in future years, but in the meantime, it's Yahoo NBA fantasy basketball hoop junkie teams. Well, as it turns out, as I mentioned, if you've seen any of our previous 7 shows, this show will be up tomorrow morning, West Coast Canada, which would be Saturday. Is Trent and I, we drafted in the same league. We've been talking about it for quite some time. Trent is prolific fantasy sports expert,
Yeah.
not just basketball, sports
Prolific.
expert.
Yeah.
And well, especially with other than basketball, he's got one. As far as I know, he's got one team that's, and we're in the same league,
Yeah.
and we're
That's it.
battling each other out in this really awkward
Yeah. The only
scheduling
thing that saved you. It's the only thing that
mishap.
saved you is this
Oh,
schedule.
it's the only thing. Yeah, my players didn't do any of the stats that they
Well,
are.
you're lucky that you have players that happen to be in the quarterfinals and even semifinals of this stupid tournament.
Well,
And
that's what I was hoping you would say.
yeah, but it is.
Because
That's why. Well,
one,
somebody,
it's not a stupid tournament. It's not
it is a
stupid.
stupid
I
tournament.
like it. And two, I actually prepared for it, unlike
Oh,
many
here we go.
people that didn't prepare for it.
I'm going to pick this guy because in December he's going to be in the semifinals of the Emirate Cup. Yeah, okay, sure, I believe that.
I picked up 3 out of 4 players that
I know you
performed
did.
exceptionally well.
DeAndre Hunter,
The,
24 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. And
no, that's not true. But he doesn't remember all the peripheral stats because it's not his player. He didn't pick it up, so he doesn't get to boast about it. But
exactly what he did
at
last
the
year.
end of the day, I came in from behind, and I'm in 7th out of 10. Trent's in 5th, and is hesitating. I'm not sure what's going on there. I think he thinks he owns the waiver wire, and in this
No,
particular situation, the extension of this particular week goes for a couple more days. I'm in it, and I hope to upset Trent so
and they
that he
didn't give us
can.
any more. They only gave us the 4 waiver wire
I
picks.
know it's just ridiculous. We're not going to waste on negativity. What
Okay.
we will do is go directly into those that are still fighting to win this week. What is happening on the waiver wired, we like to call here at the Canadian Bro
Well,
Show,
sorry,
all basketball with Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley,
I'll correct myself.
connected.
He had 24 points and 1 rebound and then 0 everything else. Sorry, my bad. He
It's
had 1 rebound.
everything I needed, and I have 8
It was.
teams. Trent has 1 team. I have 8 teams.
It was.
So by picking up these
Sure. Yeah.
players on all of the other 7 teams, it allows me to beat these other guys into submission before the week even finishes because they are not prepared. I am,
You are.
however,
You're morning
very
coffee
prepared.
and
Hence
you.
the show, the
Yep.
Canadian Bro Show, founder, director, host, Canadian Bro Show. I'm a hoop junkie. This
All
is
right.
what I do. I got 8 teams, not 1. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is connected waiver wired. Who do you pick up if you still have an action? So Trent was complaining that it goes into the second week and you only allowed 4 players to pick up per week. Well,
Yeah.
most guys blow their load in the first week normally because it can be very beneficial if you know the schedule
It's supposed to
and
be a week. So,
well, I mean, this is brutal. I've never seen this before. I'm not happy with it, but
yeah. But yeah,
at the end of the day, I have picks. I have injury reserve guys. I can drop guys. I've already planned all this out, and it's working out for me
it is.
personally.
It is.
If you need a player right now, I would definitely look at Grady Dick,
Good.
and he is, believe it or not, 46% available. But he's had some injury issues. And of course, when other players that come back that take his minutes come back and they're playing, people are like, he's going to get 24 minutes.
They're not even taking his minutes. He was starting, so he's going to get his minutes. And
Oh,
Scotty Barnes now is
he's
out for how
he's
long,
not
right?
only starting. Listen to this. Not only Barnes is down and down again. Scotty Barnes, I love him, but dude is
Yeah.
one of these guys is
Uh,
just going to get injured all the time.
yeah.
And Emmanuel Quickly, not one of these guys that normally is injured, but has been injured the entire season. So
Ever since
they're
he got traded
both,
to the Raptors.
yeah, they're both gone. And the only positive thing is that if they're out the same time, it's guys have to step up. And Grady Dick has averaged 19.7 points, remarkable. 3.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.6, 2.5 threes a game. He's 6'8". He's got confidence. I honestly, aside from when I first looked at him in that awful outfit when he got drafted, I thought 70s porn star. He's also getting 34 minutes a game. So, Dick is a guy with 2, 3, who knows who gets injured next, that if you pick up can fill in quite a bit for you because he's getting the minutes and he's getting the usage. And as I mentioned to Trent in the pre-show, I like to do waiver wired connected with helping everybody out, guards,
Yeah.
forwards, centers,
Yep.
whatever, because everyone needs the help. There's so many injuries, it's ridiculous. Next guy, Nick Richards. Talk about the ineptitude of the Charlotte Hornets. Wow, is that just I
Hey,
love
listen.
watching them because I love LaMelo Ball and I'm a big fan of their second year player that's playing out of his mind, the 6'9" kid.
Yeah.
And Nick Richards is they had 4 centers, but only one was playing, and Nick was the only one that was healthy enough to play. And
Right.
he even blew his ankle out again. And then the dude that got back in, I'm not going to mention him because he's been sitting on the bench for 2 years collecting a paycheck and he looks like he's baked on the bench all the time. And I don't trust him and it drives me nuts. So I go Nick Richards has played 4 games since returning from the rib injury, which is essentially the new injury this year is the oblique
Oblique.
area.
Yep.
Rib,
Yep.
contusion, oblique contusion,
Give
nipple
Banchero back.
contusion,
Let's go.
belly button contusion. What next? Who knows? It just drives me insane. In those games, Big Nick, 7-footer, active, athletic, 12.3 points, 10.5 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, 60% from the field, and 79, 80% from the charity step. That is a rare occurrence in the NBA
Yeah.
for a big. but he's on a crappy team. He's one of four centers. Three of them are not playing. And I grab him because if you look at their schedule, grab him. You just got to pay attention. Next guy, who is a guy that I used to draft many, many times over the years. And then I swore to God, I would never, ever draft him again because he drove me insane. And that's DeAndre Hunter, who Trent brought up. I brought him in for a 1-2 game wonder because I had the extra spot and I just needed to get by the
Dude, he's
team that
scoring
I
like
was.
23, 24 every night, it seems. Right?
It's
He doesn't
incredible,
have a
but
lot of other stuff, but he's getting those.
no peripheral
Like,
stuff, no defensive stuff, no
yeah,
blocks, but whatever. He can score. He's shooting it well. He's motivated. I think he's really pissed off that he's just an injury prone mofo. And he's been listening to people like us and every other podcast in the world about basketball saying the
I'm
guy's
a
a
fan.
stiff.
I'm a
But
fan because he was a good player at college in Virginia.
yeah, yeah.
He's
And
been
and he's 6'8", he's long. And the thing is now he's coming off the bench as a six man and he's found his real
he's
where
really
he
developed.
belongs.
He was never a great 3-point shooter. He's really
No,
developed.
because Jalen Johnson, what he's doing at the
Right.
power forward position is
Yep.
he's a future
Yep.
first team All Star in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Going on, DeAndre Hunter saved me in 3 of my teams, so thank you.
You're welcome.
And he was not interested. No, I wasn't thanking you. I was thanking my intuition. Yves Missy, who I brought in, this would be the third week in the row. He's a 7-footer. I believe he's out of France. He's with one of the second worst, if not, yeah, probably the second worst. Although now Brandon Ingram's injured, they could be
Sure.
tied for the worst. New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans just can't catch a break. Some ex players think that they have a voodoo spell on the team. And Zion Williamson, once again, hamstring. If you looked at his legs, he doesn't have one hamstring; he has 7,
Right.
and that's why he has hamstring injuries every year. Because one of those 7 go down. I'm joking. He's 275, 6'7". He needs to lose weight and learn how to stretch. Zion, it's called stretching. It's called hydration.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I'm just not going to waste my time with it. Yves Messi, 7 foot. He's active. He's only giving you like 9 points, 9 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, but he's active. He's healthy and he's playing good minutes and he's had some big games. And the kid is really very fortunate to be in the situation he's in because the only team in the NBA out of 30 that don't draft a center or trade for a center or pick up a center, and the next center on the roster is 6'9" Daniel Tice. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And the next center I got to talk about, this will be the 4th week in a row because I've been utilizing this guy like a machine. Goga Bitadze. This guy is insane from Georgia. He's insane in the membrane. He's got the worst hair in the league. He's the only NBA player I've seen in the league that grows facial hair that's not a different color than his forehead. It's black on the chin and it's black with the bad haircut. But Goga just gives her. Listen to this. Listen to this. Wendell Carter Jr. was supposed to be the center. Wendell Carter Jr. was supposed to be an all-star, was supposed to play.
He's undersized for center.
No. Have you looked at how thick he is? He's 6'11", 270.
He's like 6'9".
His head is the size of a small European car.
Whatever.
Anyways, he's a stiff and he's always injured. And he cried when he had plantar fasciitis tear. He was crying as he was leaving the floor. I mean, I feel for him. Injuries suck. Nobody likes injuries. Yep. But seriously, dude, get healthy, lose weight, do something, change a diet, hire a chef, just stretch, do anything. But Gogo comes in. He's from Georgia, and they're depleted. One of Trent's best players on the team that were in the fantasy basketball leagues out, and he's one of the best young players in the NBA. Gogo's gone ballistic. He's just nuts.
He was a leading scorer in the NBA.
12 points a game, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks over the last 7 games, replacing Paolo Banchero, which you can't. And the injury of the month is the oblique injury instead of calf contusion because Paolo Banchero is out with oblique. Franz Wagner, who was going ballistic. And I told you before, what happens when you go crazy? Next thing happens, you get a oblique injury and you're out for 2 months.
The Wagner brothers.
I'm telling you. Well, at least they have the louder one still on the bench because that guy's a live wire.
I mean, he's all over the floor.
He's nuts. I love him. He's so high energy. And then a guy that I've tried to draft, and he's basically a hired gun. Every team that thinks they're going to be in the playoffs, they'll pick up Malik Beasley and
Right.
his little
Yeah.
3-point shake,
Yeah.
right? And he has been playing really well for another one of the worst teams in the NBA, and that's the Detroit Pistons. They should be
Yeah.
better, but they're not because the coach doesn't know what he's doing. The coach of the Detroit Pistons, I won't
He,
even say his name,
he
does
doesn't deserve
not
to be said.
understand
Yeah.
what he is doing with that roster.
Yeah.
I'll
He
leave
doesn't.
it at that.
Yeah.
Trent, you can tell me later what you think. I had to drop Duran on one of my teams.
Yeah. I'm getting close, man. Now he's getting.
This is
Now he's
ridiculous, dude. And now he's out with a wrist injury?
yeah.
Like from what? Doing what? He's been sitting
I
on the
finished the
bench.
waiver wires, but I don't have any moves left because of this.
Well, look at my waiver wired
Yeah.
connected. You
Yeah.
can get players there.
I
I'm
can't. I
telling you.
don't can't pick up anybody anyways. I'm on my moves. The other guy I would
No.
mention too, because of the injuries in New Orleans, would be Brandon Boston Jr.
Yeah, I
I'm not
brought
a
him up
big fan,
before.
but he's like 12 points, 4 boards, 3.5 assists, 1.5 steals.
And he shoots 4 for 12.
Yeah, he's
The guy can't shoot.
he actually he went to high school with Bronny. He
Yeah.
was a year ahead of him.
Canyon.
Yeah, Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, thank you.
And the only shout out I would give that way when it comes to players is I think he's on everybody's rosters now. But when you talked about Grady Dick, just because we got to give the Raptors a little, being Canadian,
Love.
is Jakob Hurtle.
Excuse me.
That guy is going nuts this year.
Yeah.
16 points a game, almost 12 rebounds a game, three assists, 1.5 blocks, 1 steal. That guy's playing the best basketball in his career. No
I
question.
think he might be the most improved basketball player in the NBA right now.
He might be up for that award. No question.
Yep. Yeah, I think he should. And a bunch of NBA coaches and guys that are not coaching the NBA but do the games have all said the same thing. So that was a really good point. I
That's a
agree.
great team player. You want those guys on your team.
Oh
That's an
yeah,
unselfish player that's going to work try for every rebound, block
yeah,
shots, and the points he gets are jump hooks in the lane or dunks. It's not like he's looking for post up plays, although there's no
yeah.
post up in the NBA anymore,
He
anyways.
doesn't
But
need to, and he's very unselfish. He drops
crafter,
dimes. He's a great pass. He's probably one of the top
great
3
team guys. I take
passing
that
big
guy.
men. Yeah,
I have that
but
guy on my team anytime. He just plays
dude,
hard.
when I played in Austria, for 2 years. He was playing in FIBA at the time,
Right.
and briefly signed with an Austrian team because he got injured, and then he went back to EuroLeague. But one of his local connections played, and he wasn't playing the game that I played his team, but he was on the bench, and that was the first time I saw him. His head. I used to say your head was huge. That kid's head is, oh my god, it's like oversized luggage. He's a big chap, man. I love him. I think he's great. And droppables on waiver wire connected just to finish. Alex Caruso. I'm not exactly sure what OKC did to trade everything to sign that dude. He doesn't do anything, and he's always
Elmer,
injured.
Elmer Fudd.
Unbelievable. Mike Conley.
Yeah,
You know,
good
get the violin out, retire,
player.
and just go do music.
Good player, man.
And
Good,
and
won a
yeah,
championship.
great player, love him, great guy,
Won a
great
championship
character
at
guy.
Ohio State with Greg Goden, man. He was
But Minnesota's got this kid on the bench, and they want to unleash him, and he is going to be a superstar in the league,
I
I
don't know. He's a
think.
little erratic, but I know
But
he's
yeah, well,
a good
he's
player.
a rookie. The kid's 20
Crazy
years
guy.
old.
Yeah, crazy
And
guy.
the other kid is, I really wish Steve Kerr would give him minutes. Is Trace Jackson Davis out of Golden State, 45% available. Drop him. He's getting 16, 17
He
minutes
was
a
getting
game.
minutes. He was starting or getting a lot of minutes at the start of the year, and now he's
I don't know, Trent.
dropped off.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
And then moving on quick because we want to get to Trent's Eastern and Western Conference. This is a little bit longer today, but we got a lot of basketball stuff. It's Trent. It's Vegas, baby.
It's
You know what I'm
Vegas.
saying? Tomorrow.
It's Scott Foster, and Tony Brothers. It's Vegas. That's what the NBA is going to tell you.
They're not the only one. You got to mention the other guys too.
Oh, freaking Bill Kennedy from that Houston Golden
Oh
State.
my God, Bill, get a hotel room.
Oh my gosh.
Bill is just like
Bill's
just
looking good. Bill does a great job on the replay.
he's funny. Yeah, but you know what? Honestly,
That was
if
terrible.
I wouldn't be surprising if Bill's wearing a pink thong. Just myself. That's my own opinion.
Bill is actually openly gay, just so you know.
I'm just joking. I'm
I'm just saying he
joking.
is,
I'm
though,
being
so he
facetious. I'm
might do that.
just
I don't know. Who knows?
well. I have no idea what kind of connections you have with all
Who
the
knows?
refs in the NBA,
Could be a
but you
power
seem
bottom. I don't know. I mean,
you see. This is a family show.
let's family.
Anyways, The tomorrow is the final four of the second annual Emirates NBA Cup. It is the semifinals knockout tournament. Essentially, on the East, we have the Atlanta Hawks at 4-1 versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Both teams have been,
Yeah.
right from day one, have been my teams, and I'm very happy. Atlanta is averaging more than any of the other four teams, almost 120 a game.
Yeah.
They're a 5 point plus spread, giving up 114. They have a tendency to run and gun, but Trey's been doing a really great job on dropping dimes and getting all his teammates involved, and his teammates are all stepping up. I mean, they've got 5, 6 players in double figures, and he spreads the love, and I think it works. His shooting percentages, but it happens with him in the beginning of the season. He's going to warm up.
What I
He's
think
still hitting big shots.
I actually think his game has finally matured to an NBA game. He's not just out there chucking it. He's
Yeah.
actually driving the basketball to get layups, and like you said, involving people way more. It's not that he wasn't a good assist man before, anyways.
No, he's great.
But his game has evolved a lot. It's matured a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
He's not just relying on the fact that I'm going to shoot logo threes type thing. He gets to the lane.
and he
Got that,
can.
got that little connection with the lobs with Capella. Atlanta's a fun team to
Excuse
watch,
me.
and we had said that before about them, right? So
Yeah.
them beating the Knicks, I mean, they beat them down. That
Oh,
was that fourth
Nick's
quarter.
Nick's already done. They got their 100,000. Thanks very much. So and then the opponents, and then so field goals 47 point. So really, it's interesting at these four teams. If you look at the stats trend against Milwaukee, Milwaukee's 5-0. They've been on a heater. Exactly
Yeah.
what I
Yep.
discussed and mentioned many times. If anybody listened. And I'm so excited to see these two, but the Milwaukee's just been playing incredible. The Greek Freaks just
8-2 in the last 10.
incredible. Yeah, actually 9-3 in the last 12.
Well,
And they're averaging 115, so they're scoring and they're giving up a 104, or they're stopping teams. So their offense to defense is excellent, 50%. But at the end of the day, the synergy between Damian Lillard and the Greek Freak, and now that Middleton's back, and their depth on the bench, which is exactly what I talked about in
yep.
the very first show we did on where they should be, or at least where I thought they could be, and they're there and
We got
better.
that. We got that ginger coming off the bench. If you leave that guy
Yeah,
open, he is
white
knocking
dude with the chicken wing and
it
the high release.
down. Yeah, dude,
Yeah, and he plays D
oh
like
yeah. If
he's
you leave him alone though, it's in almost. It
yeah,
just like
yeah.
he lets
The
it go.
chicken wing though, when you're a shooter like that, so he needs his legs and he's got the chicken wing, and then by the time you've exploded off like
Yeah,
World B Free used to shoot that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
exploding, chicken wings out, off balance, you're fading, but he can light it, and that's one thing Milwaukee's done a really good job, and that's
Yeah.
what I mentioned in the show was they surrounded these guys with shooters.
Well, it's always a positive when you can give Pat Connaughton less minutes.
Well, I know you're not a fan,
Sorry.
but and
No,
that's
he's
why the
a player,
dude.
good role player, but
No,
he was
yeah,
playing
he is great athlete. Great athlete.
he was playing
Could
way
have
too
could
much
have been in the
minutes,
in the baseball league right now.
but he was playing way too much. He's a good role player,
Yeah,
but the fact that it shows you how, like you said, it shows you how deep they are. That he's playing even less minutes than he ever has. Right? That shows you how deep you are. That's going to win. Those are winning. That's a winning formula in the NBA in anything.
absolutely. And then the other winning formula is that if you have the best Canadian point guard in the world,
Or in the NBA
um, and
and in the
certainly
world.
in the NBA and the world, Canadian best point guard in the world and in the NBA is Shea Gilgeous Alexander, 6'6". The kid is just smooth as butter.
Nice.
And the OKC Thunder are facing the upstart, surprising Houston Rockets
Yeah,
that are playing out of their young minds.
they are.
And OKC is 4-1. They're averaging 111 a game. They're more of a defensive team like Houston, so it's going to be a real defensive. I mean,
Yep.
both of these. I think there's going to be more offense Atlanta and Bucks, but there's going to be more defense on the Thunder and Rockets
Well,
because
yeah.
and let me just bang these stats out really quick. 4-1, so 111 a game, 104 against the other team, 44%. So that's a bit of an issue there shooting. Houston's 4-1. They've got 112. The stats are virtually identical with these teams.
Really close. Yeah, really close.
What do you think?
Well, I think the defense part, that's out of all this Emirate thing, this stupid play tournament, the best thing about this tournament is because we have to
It's
make
not stupid. It's
it
it's entertaining.
it is entertaining, but it's just stupid that they had to do this to make players play hard. That's my problem.
They're just
But
doing it
that's
for money.
for money, yeah. But they already have tens of millions. But that's for another day.
But
So
when you have billions, you just want
okay,
more.
fine. The best thing about this tournament is the fact that if you watch the Golden State Houston game the other night, the game was in the 90s. It was
Yeah.
like a mid 90s game, as in it was physical.
91-90.
Defense. The guys, they let them play.
Terrible calls by referees at the end of the
Well,
game.
both ways, but the call at the end was it wrecked the game for me. It's a 1 point
Terrible.
game. You know
Terrible.
what? Give Houston the timeout. Just say, hey, they got their timeout.
Dude,
See,
it should have
right?
been a timeout. Honestly,
It's
these guys get away. It's just honestly, we don't want to ruin the show.
Then I got to listen to the NBA tell me the next day, oh,
That's
that the foul
bullshit.
that they called was the right call. Hey, shut up. I don't want to hear about it.
No, it's a bunch of shite, and we don't want to hear it because we're smarter than that.
Steve Javi, who's the head of officiating, I don't want to hear from that guy either. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So great game, and they are playing defense in this tournament, which is great to watch. It does remind me of the basketball I love. It's physical. They're letting them play a little bit, and I think that honestly, I think the Milwaukee Atlanta game is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be good. But I think the best game is going to be that Houston or OKC game is going to be awesome. I can't
So
wait.
who do you got, Atlanta? You got the Hawks or the Bucks?
I'm taking Atlanta just because they're just fun to watch. They're on a heater. They're fun to watch. They're young. And like I told you about OKC, what I really like about some of these teams we're getting to watch right now, the younger teams, they actually seem to really like each other.
Yeah.
Like when they're coming off the floor, guys are coming off the bench with smiles on their face, they're high-fiving each other. It's not, hey, even though I'm not playing, I'm excited. Like I'm into this, right? Those two teams really seem to have that synergy. You know, like because Milwaukee, not that they don't like each other. Houston's the same way. It's just that they're older veterans. It's just like this is business. Like we're taking care of business kind of thing. It's not that same excitement. Whereas those three young teams are all like that. They are like
it's very interesting comment, and I completely agree with you. I was going to bring it up myself if you didn't, and you did, which is not surprising because we both know hoops. And at the end of the day, the OKC Thunder and the Rockets going to be a defensive grind, and
OKC Atlanta final, OKC with the win.
Yeah,
that's what I'm rooting for. So
I am too. I'm only. It's exactly why I was going to go Atlanta, OKC.
I think the only reason,
the thing about Atlanta is people don't talk about is when they did the Murray trade and they solidified the backcourt with the leading steals guy. The kid is incredible. Might not fill the stat sheet.
Daniels.
Yeah, he's just Dyson Daniels. This kid is just remarkable, and it's really worked. But Jalen Johnson, the power forward, 20 and 10. This kid is so athletic. His head was over the rim.
And big, like he's thick.
But not just him. Capella has been playing really well. He's had a resurgence this year, and I think he's just finally fed up with people saying Okanya is like on his ass. He's going to take over. No, Okanya's not. No. Because his big toe needs to be. They need to cut it off and put a titanium one on, and so he can stay away from being injured by his big toe for the last 5 years. I'll go nuts if I hear that again. But I got Atlanta, OKC. I'm going for Shea, MVP. That's OKC wins it. They're the better defensive team. And yes, they have height issues, but Hartelstein's back. And I just love the way they play. I'm agreeing with Trent.
Yeah.
Go Canada. Before we go into the Western Eastern, really quick, I want to talk about Canadian stat leaders. The leading point scorer for Canadian basketball players, there's 27 in the NBA right now, is the guy that we've been talking about, who we think is going to win the whole shabam.
Yep.
Is SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's about 30.2 points a game. Right behind him is my other favorite Canadian player, RJ Barrett, at 23.2. Yep. Really, really starting to show his true colors with the Raptors. Yep. Very exciting. And Benedict Mathurin finally getting the minutes at depleted Indiana Pacers. 18 points a game and 6 rebounds. Holy crap. The kid is tough. 6'6". Then rebounds per game. Zach Edey hasn't played for the better part of a month. Yeah. And he's leading Canadians at 6.9 rebounds a game, and he should be back tomorrow. And RJ Barrett's at 6.8. That's what I like about RJ Barrett. He contributes right
Grind.
across the board. Rebounds, and then Benedict Mathurin, big surprise,
Yep.
6.3 rebounds. And then you go to assists, SGA, 6.3. Of course, the kid's unbelievable. And then, hey, you remember him? Jamal Murray. What
Yeah.
the
Thought he
fuck?
took his money and ran back to LA.
I'm telling you, they signed him to a $250 million contract. He disappeared.
Yeah.
6.2 assists. And then RJ Barrett,
Nice.
6
RJ's having a
assists.
great year, man.
Oh
RJ's
my
having a great year.
God.
Best
And
year so far.
leading in, finally, again, the Western or Eastern and Western Conference standings. Trent's going to give us a breakdown, and then we're briefly going to talk about the players at the month at the end and shout outs. And we might, if we have time, probably not the FIBA
No.
basketball rankings. I'll pass it on to next one. What are we at right now?
All right. So we're at 55 minutes. So
Okay, perfect.
yeah. So yeah, Eastern, Western. I mean, East. You got Cleveland, Boston's right there now. I mean, you look at some of these teams, like you said about Milwaukee's 8-2 in the last 10. You know, Boston 8-2, Cleveland 6-4. So they're falling off a little bit. Miami took a bit of a jump. They're 7-3 in the last 10. There's lots of rumors about Jimmy buckets being traded. That they kind of want to rebuild a little bit there and get rid of some of that contract stuff.
Golden State.
Going on.
Golden
That's
State.
rumor. Kuminga probably, because he's going to be out the door. I think that's their big.
It'd be more than Kuminga. It would
Yeah, I know it
be.
would be, but I'm saying that's their.
Yeah, yeah.
Kuminga's the dangle. He's the carrot. That's
Well,
the carrot.
and the Canadian and our Canadian that's had a resurgence.
Yeah, who's injured again? Yeah, resurgent. So and you got the Knicks. Knicks are better. Are like 6-4 in the last 10. Again, they're gonna these are the teams that we look at these teams right now, and all the teams that are in this top 6 right now are teams that we talked about that were going to be there. The one team that's in the bottom 4 or in the 7 to 10 spot is the Pacers. They're playing like hot garbage. I mean, they're 5 and I think they're 4-6 in the last 10. Like, come on, guys! Like, it's like they forgot to play how to play basketball. Honestly,
They get nothing from the center position. Nothing at all.
I think that, like I told you last episode, I think they read a lot of press clippings about how great they were last year and how great they were going to be this year, and nobody decided to work on their game except Benedict Mathurin because the rest of them, it's like they forgot to play basketball. I don't know what's going on.
Honestly, and to not actually stack the
Rick
center
Carlisle.
position.
Bye. Right? Might be time.
No,
to
but
say
Carlisle's a guard. This is the problem with coaches that are guards. They just somehow don't get the bigs.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's been in the league for a long time. Maybe it's time to go somewhere else. I don't know. But this is my opinion.
He's been in the league so long. He leads in the history of the NBA right now with more wins than any other coach.
Yeah. So now you got the Pistons. Yeah, the Sixers actually have picked it up the last week. They're like 5-5. They're actually 500. Like, woo, that's good for them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think your boy Big Africa has played yet. I'm sure he's not gonna. He's gonna wait till about. I don't know. He got his MVP. He got his little trophy 2 years ago, and he played enough games to get it after crying that he wasn't getting it. Yeah. He got it, and now he can just go off into the pasture. I could care less if I ever see him on the court again. I'm just so tired of that whole.
Not a fan. Never been a fan. Not a fan, and he's not my boy.
And it just shows you how mismanagement again. Like we talk about teams. You think about the Sixers. The Sixers could have drafted Jason Tatum the year that they drafted Marcus Fultz. And the Sixers could have drafted someone else instead of drafting Embiid and waiting 2 years for him to play. What if they weren't?
The Sixers GMs back then were horrific, one after another. Like seriously, like we talk about this all the time, Trent. Like, honest to God, we could put together a better team than these guys can. I'm telling you.
It's the same teams every year that are bad, and it's because of bad management. I mean, at the bottom you got Charlotte.
It's bad ownership. It's bad ownership. It starts. The rot starts from top down.
Yeah, you got Charlotte, Toronto, and Washington. I mean,
not Toronto.
Well, Toronto's in
Pelicans.
No. Toronto. I'm talking about the standings.
Oh, I'm just talking about crap teams.
Yeah, well, no, not the Raptors. Again, the Raptors are doing exactly. If there's one thing we were right about, the Raptors are doing exactly what we said their season was going to be like. They weren't going to have a good year
once they got healthy, but Barnes is down again.
Even if they're healthy, even if they're all healthy, I said, even with all the players they have and all healthy, they were going to be a team that was probably still going to be a lottery team. Maybe sneak in, maybe sneak in at the last play-in spot that they created for people instead of just being the top 8. Maybe they sneak into that, but they were going to be a team that played everybody really tough, but couldn't close out games. And that's what's happened so far this year. They've played the best teams, some of the best teams in the league. They've played really, really tough. And then in the last 8 minutes, it gets away from them. They just can't finish. And even with the players they have, they're like a player away with everybody healthy of being a team that
Yeah, it's okay. Radko is going to get the blame anyways.
of course, right? So, and
You
then you
know?
go to the West. Well, you got OKC. That's our team. I mean, I'm rooting for them to win it all. I'm not even gonna be unbiased about it. I think Shea should have been the MVP last year because I
Yeah,
think Jokic should have got his third the
yeah,
year before that.
yeah.
I think Shea had a year last year when he led the league in steals and scoring. He
If
should have
if
been.
Chet can get back healthy a little bit early and get on a
Yeah.
weight program in the offseason, they've got a chance to win it all.
Well, do they have a chance? The OKC Thunder right now, in the position they are right now, have at least, if people can be healthy, a 5 to 6 year like run where they're a contender, a serious championship contender every
Yeah,
season. Like
yeah,
they just have that talent and depth. They're
yeah.
bringing people off the bench like that you've
And
never
the
even heard
best
of.
GM, the
Like,
best
oh,
ownership, best GM in the
unbelievable.
business.
Unbelievable. And then you got Houston. Again, they're playing out of their minds. I don't know if
Yeah,
they can keep it up all year, but they
yeah. I
seem
think
to
they
have the
can. I
fire.
think they can.
I think
I think
Udoka, the coach, is got that fire that
Ema Udoka it
can
gets
replace them.
deserves
Yeah,
every bit of the credit.
I agree.
He runs a tight show. He's fair and firm,
Yep.
and he demands respect. And these kids they love him.
Yep.
They're
I
listening to him.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
They're fun to watch. Like, they play hard, man. They play
yeah,
hard.
yeah,
And they get after the rest, which I love because we can get to that another time. But then you got the surprise team because they had some injuries, but they're 9-1 in the last 10. Memphis Grizzlies with people
yeah,
healthy except for
yeah,
Edie.
yeah.
I'm not wanting to play them. They are
No,
athletic. They're deep.
dangerous,
They're a dangerous team right now. Like, and I don't know if
dangerous.
they can maintain this record, but they're going to be there in the end
It's
in the
again,
top two.
Trent. It's about health, man. I
It is.
mean,
Yeah.
if they stay healthy, they're going to be dangerous in the
And then you
West.
got a team that we were kind of disappointed in last week, but they're still playing like dogs. Well, they're 8-2 in the last 10, and that's the Mavericks. They're kind of bringing it. They're getting it together a little
I'm
bit
a
here.
huge Mavericks fan. I
I don't
love
know.
Luca.
Yep. And then Golden State, they've kind of fallen off a bit, 5-7, some
Yeah,
injuries.
they're in
Uh,
trouble.
they're in
And
trouble.
if they pull this trigger, for buckets, Jimmy buckets, it'll be the demise of the
Yep,
franchise
it'll be
in the
over
next 5 years.
because he won't.
And
5 years.
Curry
Two.
will demand to be traded
Yeah.
because it will collapse.
Well,
Like
there's
Jimmy
rumors of them.
buckets is not worth $250 million at 36.
No. And then you got the Clippers. They've kind of fallen off a little bit. They're 6-4. You got the Nuggets, who are kind of
They're
very,
exactly
very.
where they should be.
Yeah. And then you got the Nuggets, who are kind of like very up and down. 1 week
Yeah,
they're
no bench, no
one,
depth.
one stretch they'll go 8-10, eight and
Yeah,
2 and 10, and then the next stretch they'll go 5-5 and 10.
dude. If
No
Joker
bench.
is not getting a triple double with obscene numbers, they're not even in the game.
And there's a lot of great players in the world and in the NBA, but the best basketball player in the entire world right now is Nikola Jokic.
Yes,
It's not close. He
it's
is
not
just.
even close.
And then I found out I saw some stuff this week, and you might have not have known. So in 2018, the Denver Nuggets offered. I mean, he was only a first year player, right?
Mhm.
The Denver Nuggets offered Nikola Jokic to the Celtics for your boy Robert Williams, Time Lord, and Terry Rozier, and the Celtics said no. Could you imagine if he was on the Celtics? Like, oh my god,
That's a good one, Trent.
yeah,
That's out of the
that's
vintage vault right there.
unbelievable, right? Unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
really
the guy,
nice.
I mean, and I mean, like one of the commentators said, he goes, if you watched him when he was like his rookie season, like yeah, sure, he was not fully developed, and he needed to put on some weight and some muscle, but he was
Yeah.
making passes and plays that you're going, okay, this guy's just going to get better. He obviously is a savant. He's only going to get better as he gets stronger and more confident and more playing time. So it's
It's
amazing
funny.
that the Celtics turned that down.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, honestly.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
stupidity is amazing sometimes in hindsight.
um,
But the kid was a point guard, like your
great.
favorite Canadian player, Kelly Olynyk.
Uh,
They were point guards when they were young, before they had growth spurts,
yeah.
and they were excellent point guards. People used to rave about them. They were like, "Oh, this kid's going to be the best point guard ever." And all of a sudden,
Yeah,
they Joker's like 7 foot 275,
no, he's an
and
unbelievable player, man. Just
yeah, and he's the Pillsbury Doughboy. It looks like he had a dozen donuts before the game,
it's great for all us
and
old fat white guys to see a guy like that out there dominating, just
just
dominating.
incredible, just incredible.
And then so you got
Yeah.
the Lakers at 13 and 11. They're kind of hitting a bit of a
Woo.
patch here with
Woo.
LeBron's missing.
My Lakers are struggling.
And the Timberwolves, there's a disappointment. That
Wow.
John Randall trade's not working out right now.
No,
They're
no,
it's
not
not.
at all. That
Um,
GM is going to be fired by the end of this year.
they've
I
done
guarantee
you know
it.
what? They've done a terrible job there. You think about all the players, one of the worst trades of all time, all the stuff they gave up for Rudy Gobert, that's
Yeah,
stiff. And then
yeah.
they gave up Anthony Towns for Randall. They're not. I can't. I'd be shocked if they were to be able to make it to the finals or Western Conference Finals again. But you never know. Anthony Edwards is
I don't know. My
40
my
points
uh
a game
my
guy.
old colleague and Chris Finch. We played in the BBL together when he was with the Sheffield Sharks, and I was with Newcastle Eagles and Doncaster Panthers and Birmingham Bullets. And dude gets got paid, but it's in the NBA you're paid to get fired as a coach,
Exactly.
and no, but they're scapegoats, and it's not Chris Finch's job. He was doing a fantastic job
You're hired
before
to be
that
fired.
trade.
That's what a coach is. You're hired to be fired.
That's
That's
my line.
the way it
That's my
is.
line.
It is. So, and then you got to go again. Phoenix at 12 and 11. I mean, Phoenix. I mean, Sacramento's actually been played a little bit better for a bit. Now they're 500 in the last
Yeah.
10. But I think there's
Their
those.
their bench is looking really weak, man.
There's three teams there that I think are three teams, like four teams there that are 9 to 12, and that's Minnesota, Phoenix, Sacramento, and San Antonio. I think San Antonio will be the one that kind of gets left out, probably just because of experience, unless they make some
Yeah.
type of move, which you never know.
Yeah.
They're going to be a good team in the future, though. Like they just got some good young players. I mean, and Wembyama's a freak. Um, but those four teams, I think, if three of them are making it into the play-in or two, San Antonio's probably left behind there this year.
Yeah.
And then you got, I mean, it's sad because they're such a great franchise, and you know this being on the West Coast. I mean, basketball on the West Coast was always the Portland Trail Blazers and the Seattle Supersonics, and the Blazers used to be such a valued franchise in the league, like as in
Yeah.
who they were and how competitive they were.
Yeah.
They're kind of falling off a bit. And then you got Utah and New Orleans. Well, we said at the start of the year, Utah, we weren't even going to talk about them because we knew what was going to go on there. So, I mean, they're like
Oh,
they're scoring 105 a game and giving up 117, right? So it's not a winning formula.
no,
So
no. But Danny Ainge doesn't want it to be a winning formula.
oh man,
Neither does new ownership.
yeah. Oh yeah, and that guy's got so much money. He's not.
Yeah. Right.
And all the Mormons are showing up. They're still selling out the building. They got nothing else to do in Utah. So let's be serious. Well, that's what I got.
All right. Well, I think we're just going to wrap it up at that, Trent. I just want to briefly mention the thanks for that. That was really well done. The players of the month, the
Well,
Eastern Player of the Month, and well deserved. Tyler Hero
yeah,
has been playing the best basketball of his young career. I've always liked him. He's always been injury prone,
yeah.
and bad South Beach clothing attire. Some of the outfits he was wearing, I couldn't take him seriously. But dude, 25.3 points, 6 rebounds, and 5.5 dimes. Easily the best player on a very average Heat squad that's playing better, but they have depth issues and zero size in the middle. And they're hoping to get probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 players for Jimmy Buckets for the team that's stupid
Yeah.
enough to
No,
give that guy $250 million at 35, 36 years old,
play
plays
30
50
games.
games a year. I wouldn't do it. I don't care how much money I
Yeah,
have.
with you.
Western Conference player is one of my favorite players in the NBA is Luka Doncic. And the guy's just he's magical when he's healthy and he's not drinking 24 beer.
Actually, he looks like he's lost a bit of weight.
He has.
Yeah,
I think he's
I actually
kind of
see
like,
some muscles in his arm.
well, I mean, the guy's 6'8", 235.
He's a large man.
He's broad and he's 29.3 points, 12 rebounds, and 8.3 dimes.
That's pretty
Nothing
much.
nor
Yeah,
nothing more needs to be said. It's
that's a great
just,
month. Yeah,
yeah, just
that's
incredible.
awesome.
And it's good to have him back healthy.
Yeah.
And I love the mouse. And Trent, once again, thank you very much for doing a great job and contributing.
Just before we
Um,
finish, just before we finish, because
yeah,
Caitlin Clark was a big topic
yeah,
today, so I just get dings on, like you do social media wise of stuff that gets said on stories that you want to hear about. Caitlin Clark
sure.
being one of them for me. So a statement, again, as we said, how dumb these people are, dumbest rich people you're going to know. The Washington Mystics owner, Sheila Johnson, on CNN, says, why couldn't they just have put the whole NBA on the WNBA on the cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year? When you single out one player, it creates hard feelings. There is so much talent in the NBA that we shouldn't pin that success on one player. Oh, well, I recall Washington in a 25 or 3,500 seat arena playing in where the Wizards play, getting 21,000 this year. Was that because there's talented players on the Washington Mystics? I know it wasn't. It was the Caitlin Clark effect. Shut your mouth. Embrace this. Like, my God, people, just the dumbest rich people. Oh, hey.
You know,
All
and
right.
and we brought it up in the beginning of the show. We'll bring it up at the end, and that's what you do in YouTube when you have a YouTube channel, a podcast. Is you want to save some of the best stuff at the end, and you want to give some really good stuff in the
Shout out
beginning.
to all
And
the people that are listening, subscribe, comment. We love that you're listening. We're only getting so many views, whatever it is, but I know Paul and I are having fun doing this. And
we're loving it. We're loving it. But
thank
we
you, Paul.
really would appreciate any comments at all, whether positive, negative.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. If you're enjoying what you see, just a thumbs up, subscribe,
Yeah.
share. Tell your friends, and if you've got free time, it's free content. On the first iteration of the Canadian Bro Show, all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny, we have we'll be filming 22 shows this weekend and the next day. And on behalf of the fabulously talented Trent Rowley, the co-host of The Most, my
And
name is Paul Bale. I'm the
the
founder.
professional referee, Paul Bale.
I am a professional referee right now in Kelowna. I got my ticket. I had to fulfill my basketball journey after almost 60 years. Now I've completed it. The only thing I haven't is a team ownership. So when the lottery 649 and the gold ball comes through,
Yeah.
I'm going to the BBL. I'm going to buy
There
a
you go.
basketball team, and I'm going to hire all of my friends, my old teammates, and we're going to win multiple championships. I'm going to
Perfect.
bring Trent with me, and we're going to start a basketball academy, which we've already talked about. In the meantime, thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful episode, episode 8
Friday
of
the
the
13th.
Canadian Bro Show. Absolutely. All things basketball from the Hoopjunkies, Pauly and Rowley. Very pleased to be able to do this again. So happy that Trent could join me in this journey. And looking forward to have you for episode 9. In the meantime, episode 8 represents good fortune. Good fortune, health, happiness, and love to all. We'll see you next episode. Thanks, Trent. Take care, everyone. Peace. Out. Oh, still recording. Here
Yeah,
we
still
go.
recording.
No, it's still, and just don't swear. We've already sworn a couple of times, but we